Good morning, Guardians. Briar Rabbit here. This weekend, the Bungie forums have been on fire. The topic? Skill-based matchmaking, or more specifically, the removal of it. And this isn't just a few people moaning about some red bar warriors. This is dominating the Bungie forums right now. Just look at this. This is the front page of the forums. The first 11 posts are all about matchmaking. And there are plenty more for pages to come. Petitions to sign, suggestions on how to fix it, calls for a complete switch to connection-based matchmaking across the board, and of course, a bit of the all-caps vitriol that we all love to ignore on the internet. For the uninitiated, here's a quick explanation about skill-based matchmaking, connection-based matchmaking, and the difference between the two. Skill-based matchmaking prioritizes skill ranking when finding players to form a multiplayer match. This results in closer matches where no players are either way better than others, nor are there any players who are wildly outmatched. It can also lead to long waits between matches and increased latency or lag. Connection-based matchmaking does not take skill into account where setting up multiplayer matches. It prioritizes putting together players that have good connections to each other or to a host console. This should lead to less lag and crispier feeling gunfights, but it's also more likely to see very low skill players matched up against very high skill players with complete blowouts as a result. Now, in the real world, most games use a combination of both of these to create a blend of skill-based and connection-based matchmaking. And this is what Destiny does. Bungie has created a system that tries to match similar skill level players together in low latency matches. The problem is, it's not working. At least, that's how many players feel. And there is evidence to back that feeling up. Many Destiny players have routers that are able to locate exactly where in the world their opponents are in a multiplayer match. And this can be shocking. Players from the US are matching against players from Europe or South America. European players getting matched against players from Australia. And on it goes around the globe. And the better you get at the game, the worse it's going to be. As you level up in skill, there are fewer people at your skill level, which means matchmaking has to look harder and farther to find players. This means the data for player movement and bullet registration must travel huge distances back and forth, and of course, this introduces lag. It also does something far more harmful. It punishes the people who play the game the most, who have invested the time to get good. These are the people who are ambassadors for this game. I'm not talking about just YouTubers and Twitch streamers. I'm talking about the guys and gals who have put in the time to up their skill in this game, who go onto Reddit or the Bungie forums and talk strategy and loadout. They have learned the game inside and out and are passionate about it. They talk about it with their friends, and their friends want to see what's it all about. These guys, they get punished. They get matched up with players from different continents, experiencing huge amounts of lag, resulting in teleporting or invincible players. It sucks the fun right out of the game. Look, connection-based matchmaking is not a silver bullet. People worldwide have shitty and variable internet. A match could be made with a player who has low latency when the match begins, but by the end of the match, the player's internet has gone to shit and he's lagging all around the damn match. Connection-based also leads to way more one-sided blowout type matches, real ass-kicking raffle stomps. It is not fun to be on the receiving end of these, and new players, the ones that we as a community want to attract to the game, are the ones that are most likely to be on the receiving end of one of these thunderfucks. Bungie, rightly in my opinion, wants to limit how frequently this can happen, if ever. The answer may be an adjustment to skill-based matchmaking. prioritize connection heavier than it currently is so that we see fewer of these invincible teleporting warlocks and a more fair, competitive environment. We have had connection-based matchmaking in Destiny before. In Trials of Osiris Year 1, between the time House of Wolves introduced it and the Taken King changed it, the game mode was heavily connection-based. You were matched up against another team that had a good connection to you. Skill level be damned. Some loved it, but a lot of players hated it. Players wanted to compete against other players of their own skill level, not against Real Crafty or Holtzman and Watts. A trip to the lighthouse for many felt like RNG, hoping to avoid a matchup against a superior team. But the game mode did feel better than it does now. With the matchmaking prioritizing connection, there were fewer red bars and opponents with ultra laggy connections. There was good and there was bad. One solution that gets talked about are separate playlists. One normal one, a casual playlist that prioritizes connection, and another ranked playlist, a playlist that rewards matching up against players of your own skill level and winning, moving you up a ranked ladder to a higher and higher skill level. When you're in the mood to goof off, maybe you want to use a Dreg's Promise as your primary, or maybe you just want to have some lighthearted fun with your friends, you join the casual playlist. And when you're ready to go in hard to test your mettle and use only the weapons at the top of the meta, go for the ranked playlist. Bungie could offer rewards for leveling up like they did in Halo. They could have seasons like Overwatch or Call of Duty. There's a lot that can be done with this format. But there is significant risk involved as well. It could split the community and spread them too thin. So thin that nobody gets what they want. If most players focus on ranked play, would there be enough of a player base to allow connection-based matchmaking in the casual playlist to function correctly? And vice versa. It's frankly hard to say and risky on Bungie's part because of the huge development investment it would take to create such a system. So what is to be done? Well, I think that what the community is doing is valid. Deej says in a reply to one post about the topic, "When I look at the Destiny forum today, what I see looks more like a formal protest. The goal was to get Bungie listening, and that clearly has happened. But listen to the rest of what he has to say as well. My recommendation is that we use this space to explain our opinions rather than starting and bumping the same thread with the same title. Tell us why you want what you want. Brute force is not how to win over the developers. Show them your side of the issue." Bungie's attention has been grabbed. Now it's time to work with them. Get into those forums and explain why you think the current matchmaking system needs to be changed and how to do it most effectively. Or maybe you disagree. Maybe this is a case of the 1% raising a huge stink about something that the silent majority is actually perfectly fine with. Your opinion needs to be heard here too. Let Bungie know that just because some people don't have time to play for 8 hours a day doesn't mean they should be cannon fodder for those who do. It is a ridiculously complex and hard issue to solve. Connection makes the elite happier but throws the newer players to the wolves. Skill-based coddles the noobs but frustrates the veterans. A ranked playlist could work, but would it split the community too thin? It's a tough question, but one that I think Bungie needs to take a hard and public look at because it's clearly on the minds of many of its players. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you have a topic or a community creation that you would like to see featured on an episode of GMG, shoot me a tweet with a description and a link with the hashtag GoodMorningGuardians. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow.